Howdy, folks. So, the last thing we need to talk about before we jump into Little Fires Everywhere is this idea of taking notes on literature. How do you do that? So, I think it's worth a reminder that by an overwhelming margin, an L in there, by an overwhelming margin, all three of my classes this year voted to do the reading of Little Fires Everywhere at home and not together in class with the audiobook. And part of that option, of option A on my slides, included taking some notes as you do the reading at home. No discussion questions, those will be done in class, but just taking some notes. So, as you read the assigned chapters, I'm going to be asking you to take some notes on specific things. The first thing you'll want to take notes on is key plot events. And that usually should be like 3 to 5 bullets per chapter. I'll usually assign you 2 or 3 chapters to read practicing for a class meeting, no more than that. So, and honestly, the number of bullets you need just corresponds to how long the chapter is. Some chapters are longer than others. Now, another thing you'll want to take notes on is the names of any new characters. This is especially important at the beginning because a lot of characters will be introduced very quickly and you want to keep track of who's who. So any new characters and their relationships to other characters. And of course, other important basic information. How old are they? Where do they live? That kind of thing. What do they look like if there's a physical description? Next thing is new information. You learn about the characters. Their personalities. And their relationships. To other characters. So characters, of course, are the core of any novel. What happens to them, their interactions with each other, how those interactions develop, right? That's really where the intrigue, the what makes a novel interesting actually happens, is between characters. Stepping away from characters for a moment, though, from each chapter, I recommend finding one quote that strikes you as particularly interesting or important. It's okay if you aren't 100% sure why you like that quote. Just grab it and write it down. You can think about later why it is that you ended up choosing it. Again, this is from each chapter. And then just anything else you notice. So motifs, a motif is just a pattern, right? So something you notice happening a bunch of times. For example, if a character wore the color blue a lot, right? And there's lots of references in the novel to a character wearing blue. That would be a motif. Imagery, like really beautiful, vivid, clear descriptions of things. Allusions, so references to history or religion or mythology. Not common in Little Fires Everywhere, very common in other literature. Also connections to other parts of the novel or other texts, like the context videos that you watched prior to taking these notes. And then any questions you have. So, whatever you'd like to discuss. Usually with your table group. Or you could also say, if there's a question you have for me in particular, you could set that aside as well. And then there's one last thing that I didn't include here, and that is, I'm going to add it down here, and that of course is new vocabulary. There's going to be plenty of words in Little Fires Everywhere that you don't know. Anytime you come across a word you don't know, write it down, remember to look it up. Or if you want to stop reading and look it up right in that moment, I encourage you to do so. All right, so these notes that you take, you're not going to do it just on random lined paper. I'm going to give you a packet that gives you a place to take all your notes for all of the assigned chapters. And you'll do that, and that packet it'll be on like regular printer paper, and it will be turned in for credit. So it'll be important that you take your notes consistently and that you submit it at the end of the unit. We'll also do some notes together, not like complete notes, but abbreviated notes on Chapter 1 in class, since we will still read Chapter 1 all together. All right, so that is what you need to know about taking notes on literature.